I'm traveling the globe to play with amazing ultimate teams, explore diverse cities, and compete for championships at the world's best tournaments. This is Ultimate Globe Trotter. For the first stop on our journey, we head to Boracay Island in the Philippines. After trips by plane, bus, and boat, we arrived at the beautiful white beaches of Boracay. Hello and welcome to episode 1 of Ultimate Globe Trotter. We're here on Boracay Island in the Philippines, home of the beach ultimate kings of Asia, the fierce and speedy Boracay Dragons. Boracay itself is gorgeous and unique. The spanning white beach is the most popular part of the island, speckled with restaurants, resorts, bars, and beautiful scenery. Opposite of White Beach is Bulabog Beach, a less inhabited but popular spot for wind and kite surfers. In between is a mix of shack or building homes, convenience shops, chicken coops, dirt roads, and often the unexpected. Home for our stay and the adopted home of the Dragons is Casa Pilar, a resort owned by James, one of the team's founding members. Casa Pilar is beautifully situated on White Beach, right in front of the very fields that the Dragons practice on. Tourists pack the paths of White Beach, where offers of massages, cheap sunglasses, and adventure tours are ever present. For the Dragons, when it comes to training season, they're all business. Founded in 2002, the Boracay Dragons are Asia's premier beach team. A rarity in competitive ultimate, the beach is their home turf, and what they train for.
The team started in 2002. There was a tournament, the first Boracay Open.
So we invited teams around Asia, and we were in need of 2 more teams. That's where I approached James. So James Yap, he's like the team leader of Boracay Dragon. He asked his younger brother at the time who was doing Dragon Boat.
Dragon Boat is a rowing team. That's where they got the name Boracay Dragons, because most of the players that started joining are from the Dragon Boat team. The first year that they joined the tournament, they finished second. The following year, they started training and then started to know more about Ultimate.
An unexpected second-place finish at the 2007 World Beach Championships in Brazil propelled the Dragons to the forefront of the beach ultimate world.
We just played, no expectations, and then started winning and made it to the semis and beat the US in the semis, and then made it to the finals against Australia. The Filipinos are known for playing games with a big heart, the heart to win.
Most of the players are based here in the island, so I would say it's second nature to them to run on the beach.
Having since maintained their reputation as one of the fastest, most relentless teams on the beach, the Dragons now prepare for their next challenge, the 2015 World Beach Ultimate Championships in Dubai, where they are striving to win gold.
Come on, younger boy. You have to think that this is already the championship game, okay? Go, guys.
First, however, is the training of a new crop of Dragons, as they prepare to defend their home tournament, the Boracay Open, which they have not lost in 10 years.
We're running for the 11th championship this coming March 14, 15, and 16.
Boracay Open has always been the turf of the Dragons, but the way I see it is that other teams are really, really strong and they're catching up, and in fact, it will be tough.
Ultimate Globe Trotter. Prior to a tournament, and in this case, the Boracay Open, the Dragons dedicate themselves to training every single day.
The trainings are intense. We do a lot of circuit training, outside of the field training, water.
In taking part in a week of training, it's no surprise that they're one of the top beach teams in the world. The beach is their home and their domain.
The Dragons, I heard, played Ultimate all day, 2-3 times a day. That's all they did, like full-time job was Ultimate. And I was like, no, there's no way that life can exist. I've got to see this, and it's true.
We train ourselves never to stop running, just basically keep on moving forward.
They attack it from all angles. They do sprints with low rest, and then they do kind of long Ironman circuits.
Interval, like sprint, jogs, swim, core workout.
This is the Dragon circuit. High knees in the water, swimming, sprinting on the beach. Do this after every single practice.
These guys know beach ultimate. You know, it's what they do. They're beach ultimate players.
Talented newcomers to the team include Kiboy and Kim Kim, and a birth of foreigners including me, and ultimate trainers Tim Morrill and Alex A.J. Jakowski. To us, the talent represented by the Dragons is apparent in players like Mai Mai, Pinoy, and Jeffrey, who constantly impress at practice along with the rest of the team.
We're born in the island, and I think it's in us already to play in the beach. We have all the discipline in the team, and we're all listening. That's my dream, to become part of the worlds from the beach. It's my #1 dream to join with the Dragons.
Perhaps also fitting is the support the Dragons get from Boracay itself.
Bar owners, hotel owners, sailboats, kiteboard instructors.
They pretty much own this island. Staying at the Casa Pilar, it's essentially the team's clubhouse. Like right after practice, they all go and have dinner at this place, and everything's free. They, you know, as long as you're a Dragons, they'll make you free mango shakes, banana shakes.
This is your food.
Thank you.
A lot
of chicken time and gravy, rice.
And then Ben also is a DJ at a bar, so we get, you know, free drinks at the bar all night.
It's a community that recognizes how good the team is and what we do for Boracay.
Even the mayor of Boracay is the brother of a team member and an avid supporter of the Dragons. To say that the Dragons run deep into the fabric of Boracay may even be an understatement.
All walks of life, different types of people, just having one thing in common, ultimate, and you know, on and off the field, so really cool.
It is this surrounding feeling of welcome that creates a wonderful sense of family among the Dragons. This sense has made us foreigners feel much at home on the island.
They eat together, they play together, they've got each other's backs, and they're very good to guests. They've just welcomed us in as part of the family.
This is the Filipino budol fight. Everyone will stand on the sides and eat with one hand. And,
What do you do with the other hand?
Box out everyone.
1, 2, 3, Dragons!
Come on, let's eat.
Wendell Go, the Dragons coach, is a prime example of the Dragons' diversity. An events planner and fitness guru who became fixed on Ultimate. Wendell leads the team in drills and the training of young Dragons like me.
There's a lot of running, there's a lot of sprinting. So the idea is, if you're on defense, when offense stops for a second or 2 seconds, how fast can you gain that energy and then move faster than the offensive player? So my training system is basically based on that. It's recovery. I would always use the term recovery. It's a recovery training program. So I just use nature, water as my natural weights.
Wendell is also a Kali knife fighting instructor. He was happy to show us some skills after practice one day.
It started actually years way back, and even during the time of the Spaniards when they invaded us 300 years ago. So before Spain invaded us, the families at that time, they have their own style. So It depends on the livelihood of the person. If the person is close near to the water, to the sea, basically like the fisherman, their strikes are closely related to what they're doing. But for Filipino culture, the blade is not just used for fighting, it's also used for livelihood. I will try to show you some moves. Okay, so some of the drills, basic drills, basically will start from the diagonal strike, okay? My movement is like I 1 and 2, right? So he strike, I do a cut 1, and then I follow up with 2. Like, now this time it's getting faster, like he stop, boom, bam. You couldn't even like sometimes see the knife anymore.
Could you show me?
Sure. Cut, scoop, yes, and walk. Walk out. Yeah. Right. Good. Yeah. Bam, scoop, and walk away. Yes. I'm a Kali instructor and Kali teacher as well. So every time I have a seminar here in Boracay, I usually bring my student on their last day to cockfighting, and that's the closest way for me to explain what is Kali all about.
Yes, cockfighting. Though controversial to an outsider, cockfighting is a national pastime in the Philippines and a Sunday afternoon tradition. On our day off, we joined Lester, a friend of the team, to visit a cockfighting arena and find out what it's all about.
So we are on our way to check out some cockfighting, which is a national pastime in the Philippines and also in Boracay. Les, what can you tell us a bit about cockfighting and what we're about to see?
Well, if it's your first time, it's not for the faint of heart, but you'll get used to it after a few fights. It's something that is being done every Sunday afternoon in communities around the country.
In the ring, also known as a cockpit, trainers first warm the cocks up by basically running them into each other. This gets the gamecocks angry and ready to fight. One cock from each trainer is then put into the ring, where the cocks attack each other until one of the cocks passes out, is critically injured, or less frequently, is killed. Oh, and by the way, each one of the cocks has a 3-inch long blade attached to the leg to make the fight extra competitive. Around the stadium, bets are being taken on which cock will win just before the match. Money is thrown to bookies who take and distribute it to winners. Experts can tell just by the way the roosters walk which cock they're going to put their money on.
Okay. So Lester, do they ever do like tag team cockfighting where they tag in a teammate?
No.
Like cock tag or something?
Yeah, it's only one cock at a time.
Is there ever like a cock that drops from the rafters, like in the middle of a fight, like and breaks it up with a steel chair?
No.
Okay.
So it's just you win or you lose.
It's always 1 and 1.
Yes.
Mad Max style.
Yes.
2 men enter, one cock leaves.
Head to head.
Okay.
As Wendell shared, fighting is part of Filipino history. Though to many, cockfighting is seen as a brutal sport, to some Filipinos it is perhaps a way to hold on to that fighting spirit. A spirit that allowed them to free themselves from Spanish rule. Ultimate Globe Trotter.
We just finished our last Dragons practice and we found out we're about to be initiated into the Dragons, but not before finishing one last Iron Dragon circuit in the water, on land, laying out for discs, push-ups, sprints. It's all going to be right out in front of us. We just need to take it before being initiated into the Dragons family.
I'm glad that's over, but I'm even more glad to be officially a dragon.
Spit hot fire!
Now sufficiently exhausted, it was time to relax and mentally prepare for the Boracay Open tournament just days away. Abby was kind enough to treat us to a trip to Mandala Spa and Villas for a recovery massage.
here at Mandala Spa and Villas, about to receive an awesome world-class massage courtesy of the Boracay Dragons. So, let's get massaging.
Mandala really opens our doors to athletes for deep body work and just for relaxation. Mandala has really provided a lot of those therapies to our players. And if you've experienced it, you know what I would mean. It's just really something else.
Ultimate Globe Trotter. Finally, it was time for the Boracay Open, a chance for the Dragons to challenge themselves for the first time this season.
This tournament is part of our training program.
Special tournament. It brings prestige for us.
Winning is always important. It gives pride, the bragging rights.
The throws have to be more concise. The stalls at 6.
I'd rather lose the tournament, but see my teammates, my players, improving.
Teams from all over the world descend on the island for this annual 3-day tournament. It is known for its competitive atmosphere and parties, a mainstay of Boracay culture.
Best tournament in Asia by far.
Tons of fun games, great spirit.
It's a great sense of community, friends with a lot of the players here in the Philippines, and everyone's just here to have a good time, which is sort of what Frisbee is about, eh?
It's one of the most amazing tournaments I've ever been to. It's just like a mixture for Europeans between Padopesh and Pagadielo. Pagadielo for the level maybe, and Padopesh
for the fun.
For the parties.
Really proper fun.
The sea, the sand, the sunsets, the mango shakes, the food, everything is awesome.
It's an amazing tournament. It's one of my favorites. I come every year. I try to. I try to come every year.
Runs so well. When you watch them play, it feels like there's one mind.
They're incredible. I played against them a few times and smooth the disc so quickly, they're so fast, and they just know what everyone's doing at the same time, and so it's just free-flowing movement the whole time.
As we had in practice, the Dragons split themselves into 2 squads for the first time at this tournament, Dragons Black and Dragons Red. Tim and I were on black, while AJ found himself as the resident tall guy on red. Now it was game time. The Dragons were quickly off and running, with Dragons Black proving their dominance and speed against a Filipino team, Mulatto, followed by a team of Chinese expats. Our first challenge of the day was going up against a team of Australians, bolstered by the talented Kat Phillips and Tom Cupcake Toulette, calling themselves the Boracay Dragons. What the Dragons lacked in speed and comedic inspiration, they made up in skill and knowledge of the game. The first half found the teams trading points, neither able to get an edge. But soon, the fitness of the Dragons pushed through, allowing us to waltz to a lead and the win to go undefeated on day 1. Day 2 opened with crossover games that matched the 2 Dragon teams against each other. Though the result merely affected who was the number 1 and number 2 seed, both Dragon teams took this as another opportunity to sharpen their skills. As we had in practice, Dragons Black prevailed with relative ease, both teams cautious to avoid injury. A quarterfinals matchup against Toronto, Canada's Max Power saw Dragons Black again showing their dominance on the beach. Victories in the quarters saw both Dragon teams into the semifinals, where Black's opponent and Australia's Boracay Dragons were waiting. After a night's rest, the Dragons prepared for our semifinal games with the same warm-up routine we had each morning, as if to instill a sense of familiar confidence in our training. The bragging skill had led them to again match up against Dragons Black. The Australians entered the tournament with the expressed purpose of defeating the Dragons on home turf and ending their decade-long reign as champions. Again, the Dragons showed their skills to keep the early stages of the game close. But the Boracayan training, strengthened by the astonishing play of Pinoy and Mai, rocketed Dragons Black into the finals. Meanwhile, Dragons Red were tied at game point against another Boracayan team, Boracay Ultimate, featuring national celebrity Derek Ramsey. A marathon point, complete with a marathon rules discussion, ended with a Dragon score by AJ, pushing a second Dragons team to the finals. Finals was perhaps a victory lap for the Dragons, who had fought to get both squads there. But just as much, it was one more chance for each of the two teams who had been competing against each other for weeks to prove itself superior. To witness the Dragons in stride is truly a sight to behold. The ease of movement, the daredevil acrobatics, it is like witnessing nature itself, molded to the last grain of home sand as it leaps and plays, displaying a deep love of the game. The beating heart of the Dragons, alive and well, determined as ever to be crowned world champion. Though my Dragons Black would elevate over Dragons Red, both teams of the same family finished as champions.
The Dragons live the ultimate life. They have the beach, discs, broship, camaraderie, and a beautiful island to play all day. And I just think that's the ultimate life.
We're not going to World Championship next year being known as the fastest team, but I would say it's a complete package.
Dragons are the beach kings of Asia and maybe the world soon.
This has just been an incredible honor, getting to know everybody, getting to play and getting to learn from you all. And it's uncanny what you're all able to do, and you proved it here again this weekend. Got a translator. All these teams have learned so much from you, and I can't wait to see what you all do at the Beach Championships next year in Dubai.
The 12th Annual Boracay Open concludes with the Dragons taking their 11th championship in a row. And that marks the end of our time here in the Philippines. Next we head to Auckland to join reigning champions Magan at the New Zealand National Championship. I'm Elliot Trotter, and this has been Ultimate Globe Trotter.
We went in with 7 guys and 3 girls thinking we had enough, and we didn't. Like, there's a lot of running and it's a different sport on sand, hey?
That was on, that was the one.
Go.
Hello and welcome to episode 1 of Ultimate.
Wait, you're not on.
Next time on Ultimate Globetrotter.
For the first couple of years of Magan, we just rolled over teams, and it was, Nationals was actually pretty straightforward for us. It was business as usual. And now the level in New Zealand has picked up.
How high will I be jumping from exactly?
Well, today you'll be jumping off at 192 meters.
They've got some good skills, and in the last couple of years, I think they set their sights on taking us out.
I think I have no choice at this point.
We've come this far already.
We want to be the best team in New Zealand, we want to be the best team in Australasia, and we want to help build world-class ultimate players.
as we're coming in. Hey! Wow! We have a new addition to our video. She had a lot of good things to say. Well, that's it.
We'll see you in Boracay.